Hey guys, Aggie K, Wealth Therapist, coming at you from the beautiful waterfront. Decided to give myself a little vitamin sunshine today and record outside. Okay, one of the biggest blocks that keeps people in survival and scarcity mindset. Listen up, this is really good stuff. Do you ever say to yourself, I can figure it out? I'll figure it out. What if I can just figure it out? I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. Maybe I can figure it out. What if I can just figure it out on my own? Is one of the biggest blocks to making more money. How do I know this? Because I've done it. Because I've done it, and I will continue to do it sometimes if somebody's not on my ass about it. So, are you a smart person? Yes. Have you gotten this far in life? Yes. Are there some things you can figure out on your own? Like, I don't know, making slime with your kids? Yes. Are there some things you can't figure out on your own? Yes. Okay, it's a huge, massive waste of time to try and figure things out that you haven't figured out in a long time. If you haven't figured it out in, a certain amount of time, like give yourself some kind of limit to figure it out, then you're not going to figure it out. You're just in a place of scarcity about it, Yes, you can figure everything out, and you can also fix everything with duct tape, but is that a wealth mindset? Is that a prosperity mindset? Ask yourself that, because it kind of depends where you're coming from with it. If you're coming at it from a business perspective and you've never run a business and you've been in your business a year or 2 or 3 and you've never had a successful business until now and you've never had a successful online business until now, why are we leaving something that is supposed to be your main source of income to figuring it out? There's some things, of course, like as kids, we're supposed to figure it out, like stick with it and figure it out until you get it and allow your brain to evolve into something. And there's some things we're just not experts at. If you're not, and this goes for anybody, because whatever you're teaching, you could be a mindset expert. You could be a mindset coach and still need to be coached, right? I'll figure it out is just another way of saying I don't want to look at this. I'm afraid to look at this. I don't want to look at how much money I've already spent to figure this out and haven't figured it out. I don't want to look at, I'm a failure, so I'm just going to keep going in. I'll figure it out. You're way better off bringing into your awareness that you might have failed and dealing with that and creating the resilience that it takes to run a business or to, do whatever it is that you do. Be a real estate agent, be an actor, any kind of service that you provide, a director, producer, whatever, what have you, running a meditation center or an online wellness company, fitness, whatever it might be. You're better off saying that didn't work and yeah, I failed at that, and dealing with that feeling, because that feeling is going to create resilience. When you're saying, I can just figure it out on my own, or I'll figure it out on my own, that's really ego talking, right? And you might be able to figure it out on your own. It's not saying that you won't, but how long is it going to take you? And how much money is it going to cost you in the process, right? It's kind of looking at it like MacGyvering everything, Of course you can figure it out. I can figure out how to make a dress too, but it's going to look terrible. Just because you can figure it out doesn't mean that you should figure it out. So one piece is that it's coming from a place of scarcity. It's coming from a place of ego that is freaking out that you can't figure it out, right? I'll figure it out generally means, hey, Michelle, I'll figure it out generally means that your brain is trying to find the answer to a question that is not going to be solved by your brain. It's usually a subconscious answer that you're trying to figure out consciously. And it's impossible. It's a puzzle that'll never get solved with your conscious mind, right? Different from, like, it's just not logical. It's not like this car part isn't working, so I'll just replace it. It's not like that, you know? I'll figure it out is your ego trying to be like, I can do this, I can figure it out. And like, that's entirely possible, but you're also like, if you're stuck in that cycle of I'll figure it out, and I refuse to like invest or spend more money or deal with the fact that I invested money already and it didn't work out, then there's a whole lot of other stuff going on beneath the surface. It's a very loaded statement, right? It's a very loaded statement. So I want you to take a look at, what am I actually saying when I'm saying I'll figure it out? Because for some people, they might be starting their business at 20 years old and they want to take the time to figure it out, and they want to learn every step, and they're in zero rush, and they don't need it to provide their income day to day. It's something that they're working at part-time, and they want to figure it out. They want to learn every in and out, and that's something that's an enjoyable process for them. Okay? And it doesn't have to do with age. It can be at any age, and it can be an enjoyable process for you. However, if you're saying, I'll figure it out, and then you're grinding yourself into a pulp to figure out why it's not working, then really it's just an excuse to beat yourself up, which is not good. That's not going to help you get there. Hey, Amanda. That's so funny. I was just thinking about you today. How are you? I hope you're doing good. So I'll figure it out is one of those really sneaky blocks. And this gives you insight into how your subconscious mind works. Become a student of that. Become a student of what your mind is saying to you. What is in the loaded sentence? Take a moment now to think about what is in the loaded sentence. I'll figure it out. It could be, it's going to be different for everybody. It could be, I don't need anybody. It could be, I can do it all myself. It can be, I don't need help. It can be, I don't like receiving help. It can be, no one knows better than me, but underneath, not super trusting, or else you might have already figured it out, So what I was saying at the beginning is that it can be a way of just like messing with yourself, and giving yourself a chance to beat yourself up. Like, I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. Tons of pressure behind that too. Like, I have to figure it out. I need to do this alone. I need to prove something. And you have to know this. You have to know that whenever you're in a place of trying to prove something, very bad for your mindset. It creates tons of pressure, and it's a setup. It's set up because it's the wrong reason to do it, to prove something is the wrong reason to do it. I know it's kind of like there's often stuff in movies about like, I prove them wrong, and but it's really a setup. Proving them wrong is a setup, because ultimately the lead character will like decide that it was never about proving it to other people, it's about proving it to yourself, right? And part of that process for some people is going to be to admit that they can't figure it out, and that they do need help, and that they're not like a perfect, amazing entrepreneur after 1 or 2 years of business. You're not a perfect, amazing entrepreneur after 10 years of business. Right? So stop setting yourself up with this like level of perfection that you have to be able to figure it all out. And under the I have to figure it all out is also like, I'm scared to spend the money because I'm scared it's not going to work. That's really what's going on. So your more valuable time is spent figuring out why you believe that than it is trying to figure it out. Because what I was saying earlier was, you're trying to figure out something with your conscious mind that your subconscious has the answer to. And the harder you hammer this conscious mind, the more resistance you're going to get to figuring it out. So you're better off working on your subconscious and figuring out, why do I feel like a failure? Why do I feel like I need to figure this out on my own? Why do I have to do everything alone? Why am I making it so hard on myself? Why do I make these decisions around money investing so hard on myself? Why am I torturing myself about this? Versus just, keeping yourself in this holding pattern of, I'll figure it out. Does that make sense, guys? Am I making sense to you? Let me know in the comments. I think it's a huge block. Like, think about what is all underneath that. I can figure this out on my own. And how long are you willing to spend there? How long are you willing to spend in that place of, I'm going to figure this out, versus like, you're going to get a lot more value mindset wise looking at, why do I feel like a failure? Why do I feel like I can't figure it out? Why do I feel like I don't have the answers? Why am I afraid to go to someone else for answers? Why, like, just check in and see what's loaded in that. And guys, I get tons of people. I get people who have mortgaged their house for their business. Right. Letting go of the control. Boom. Exactly, Amanda. Letting go of the control. That's what the conscious mind doesn't want to do, right? That's what the ego doesn't want to do. And so the conscious mind is like running through hoops to try and make that happen. I've had people come with me who've mortgaged their house for their business. I've had people who are like 10K in debt, 100K in debt. You know, no one can do it like me. Exactly, right? Really good investigating. So I've had people come to me and like, you know, they're really frustrated. They've spent a lot of money already trying to figure this out. And sometimes it's a bummer, because I'm like, I wish people had come to me first so we could have looked at this from a mindset perspective, but it is what it is. You had to learn that way. We don't know why it had to happen that way, and we don't have to know why it happened that way. And kind of like dragging yourself over the coals over that is not going to help you move forward either. You know what I mean? What's going to help you move forward is figuring out why I feel like I just need this answer. People often come to me with this. I just need this one answer and I'm good. And that's a load of crap. Like, it's so not true. You need support. You need community. You need context for why you're doing the things that you're doing with money. You need to figure out why you are like either ignoring the consequences of what you're doing or not doing with your money. You need community to be surrounded by, supporting you, talking about it. Money is one of those things that like you can be in secrecy about, you know, for a really long time before somebody knows something's wrong. If you're physically ill, if you have a weight issue or something, you can't hide it, but you can hide the money stuff. Like anyone but your immediate, you know, people who live with you. And if you don't live with anybody, then they wouldn't know. Nobody would know. It's one of those secret things that you can keep a secret for a really long time, and then you can sit and I'll figure it out for a really long time too. So getting out of the secrecy of it is a huge thing, right? It's a huge piece of it to let go, like Amanda's saying, let go of that control and the ego that's saying no one can do it better than me, no one knows me better than me. Yeah, but you also like do not, like, your brain's too smart. It's too busy making sure that you're like breathing and eating and sleeping for it to try and, you know, devote a huge amount of time and energy to figuring out what's in the subconscious that's blocking your money. You know, it keeps people in survival. It's just code for, I want to stay in survival. I don't want to spend the money. I don't want to invest the money. I'm afraid to invest the money. I'm afraid to spend on myself. What if I spend the money and I could have figured this out myself? Well, like, who cares? If you figure it out, then like you figured it out. So like you wouldn't give a shit why, right? If you figured it out, you figured it out, and whatever got you to figure it out, you'd be delighted by. And if you figured it out, you'd make double, triple, quadruple the money because you figured it out, you know, with somebody's help. So I do think that's one of the biggest blocks. And it's kind of like denial, right? Even if we're not talking about money and we're talking, say, about like other issues that you might have, it's like being in denial. It's like, I don't need therapy. I don't need to talk to anybody. I don't need to anyone else's input on this. And it's really like a self-protection. It's a self-protection that eventually becomes self-destruction, right? It eventually will just self-combust because the protection then eventually just keeps you from, you know, from getting the thing that you want. And it keeps you in torture, and it keeps you in a really critical place with yourself. And it keeps you not having a relationship with your subconscious that is really hard to do on your own if you're not trained in that. Okay, guys, that's my tidbit for today. Put that in your mindset nerd files and study it. Think about it. Just write it down yourself. Where am I saying I can figure this out myself? Where are you preventing yourself? If we're really going to think about subconscious, saying I'll figure it out myself slows you down. So why are you afraid of things happening so fast? Why are you afraid of making money so fast? Why are you afraid of having a big audience so fast? Take a look at that, because it can sometimes just be the very opposite, and your mind is just kind of like, you know, distracting you with something over here. It's kind of like CNN or, you know, world media will distract you with this over here so you don't worry about this other thing, right? What a gorgeous day, guys. Thank you so much for spending it with me. This is mindset gold. Watch this and rewatch this and ask yourself where in your life you're saying, I'll figure it out, and really investigate that block and get into PTP with me. We start the first week of September, and don't worry about if you'll figure it out. You'll figure it out so much faster, and you'll make your money back so much faster than the money you're losing not doing it. Okay? Love you guys. Have an awesome day. And check out PTP. Check out my other videos on YouTube. I have over 100. Woohoo! And follow me on the gram. Let me know what you think about this. Post it in the thread below. Love you guys. Aggie K. Wealth Therapist. Bye.